Contrary to what you might be thinking, this is not how to exercise to be a hottie. I have no clue how to do that. But I can tell you how to exercise to optimize your lymphatic function. Feeling a little awkward yet? The guy in the last slide was actually a 70-year-old man who decided he wanted to start working out and eating right, and it wasn't too late to get in shape. I'm showing you this because the human body is pretty forgiving, and if you just treat it consistently better, it will transform. Beautiful young people are accidents of nature, but beautiful old people are works of art. When you choose to be sedentary, you're choosing to not perfuse your muscles and tissues adequately. You're choosing to not perfuse your brain adequately. You're choosing to allow your blood to pool. You're choosing for your immune system to be compromised. And so what I want you to think about is when you're planning out your routine. Think about planning a routine that will take you closer to where you want to be tomorrow. I found this woman very inspiring, and I'm not saying that you should go run marathons because that's actually pretty damaging on the body, but the fact that this 84-year-old woman has been able to run 24 marathons in a row, and she started training when she was 60, that's pretty impressive. And what it says to me is the human body is capable of a lot more than we realize. When you choose a regular exercise routine, you're choosing to be able to go where you want to go when you want to go without wondering how you're going to load up your automated wheelchair or where you're going to find somebody to push your wheelchair for you. So you're choosing to have more control over the rest of your life. The real point of working out is to feel better. And the changes in how you feel occur pretty rapidly because you're perfusing your tissues fully and you're cleaning out your interstitial spaces and your lymphatic system is filtering your blood, your immune system is working better, there's more oxygen going to your brain regularly. All of those things are going to contribute to your sense of well-being and your strength. Those things will bounce back pretty quickly once you start a regular exercise routine. What isn't as quick is the changes in how you look. People are not going to notice that you've been exercising until you've been exercising for at least 2 months consistently. And so if you're looking for changes in how you look to motivate you to exercise, I think that's going to be pretty discouraging. And besides, if you're focusing on what you don't like about how you look, that's negative. You're focusing on what you hate and what you don't want instead of focusing on what you love and being good to yourself and what you enjoy. Exercise isn't a punishment. It's treating your body well. In order to get 80% of the benefits of exercise to your health, you really don't have to exercise like some kind of major Olympic athlete. You just have to do moderate exercise. So that means a brisk walk. You don't have to train to run the marathon. In fact, if you train to run the marathon, probably you're going to be wearing out your hips and your knees and your ankles. So moderate exercise gives the greatest benefit to your lymphatic system and your entire well-being. All you got to think is just keep moving, because no matter how slow you're going, you're still lapping everybody else on the couch. So in deciding to maintain an exercise routine, what's really holding people back? The following is a list of my own excuses that I have given in the past. I don't have enough energy to add something else to my schedule. I have no time. I just simply can't. But the thing is that it doesn't take a lot of time. It takes 15 minutes a day minimally. Optimally, I would say a half hour. If you want to see changes in how you look, you're going to have to work your way up to about an hour. But that's not where you have to start. So it's more about consistency than intensity. It's about not quitting. It's about not stopping. If you do a little bit each day, you will see results. And the thing about it is that the more you do, the stronger you get, the more you want to do. You know, they say if you choose a job that you love, you never have to work a day in your life. And the same is kind of true for exercising. If you choose an active physical activity, like, for example, maybe you like to rock climb, or maybe you like to go play fetch with your dog. I like to do kickboxing. I like it not because I like to beat people up. I like it because it challenges my concept of myself. I'm a pretty uncoordinated person, so I find it very challenging to do the motions. And I like the intellectual aspect of trying to make my body do this difficult thing that I am not well suited to. But it's very satisfying when I get it right. So choose something that you really enjoy, because that's going to help you sustain consistent exercise routines. Another tendency people have is to compare themselves to people who have been training for a long time and beat themselves up about it. You have to give yourself permission to be an amateur, because stinking at something is the first step to becoming kind of good at something. So, for example, the first time you try this jump, your cat's probably not going to be this calm, but don't beat yourself up about that. I had to watch this video like 3 or 4 times just so I wouldn't choke up every time I saw it. Because what inspires me about this man is that he started out an active young man. He had a back injury that prevented him from exercising, and that led to a cascade of events which eventually led to him being unable to walk without assistance, and he was in a wheelchair and had to use crutches. And so for 15 years he lived in this misery, but he didn't give in. He reached out to some experts in exercise. He found someone to work with him, and yoga is a very good exercise for someone who has severe health problems. It's a very gentle way of getting back into shape. And then the thing that makes me choke up is that he never quit. He fell. He fell a lot. I'm sure it was really humiliating. But the thing that inspires me is that no matter how many times he fell, he got up. And it's not the falling that makes you a failure. It's the not getting up. I wanted to download some new agey music to kind of soothe you into this, but then I couldn't figure out how to put it in the background of my voice so that I could actually say something on this slide, so you're just stuck with my voice. Well, some of you might be thinking that a massage is just an extravagance, that it's all a bunch of mumbo jumbo. When you go in there, they're going to talk about how you're purifying and cleansing and all this stuff. And the truth is that actually it is a little bit purifying, but it's not purifying because of spiritual reasons necessarily. I mean, I don't know anything about those, but it does have value in that it redistributes your interstitial fluids and helps push them back into circulation. So in that sense, it is purifying because your lymphatic vessels are being pushed to carry your lymph through your lymph nodes where it's scrubbing your lymph and put it back into circulation. So really, you could do the same. You could pay someone to push your lymph through your body, or you could exercise really hard. I think ideally, I would like both, because there's nothing better than a good massage. Edema can happen normally when you are too sedentary. This often is a problem for pregnant women because the weight of the baby can interfere with blood flow and lymph flow, but also because carrying around a heavy belly is kind of a drag and you don't really want to walk a lot when you're pregnant. So what will happen is that their feet and ankles can swell to great proportions when they're pregnant. But even normal people who've been sitting around too long can develop edema. In a hospital setting, people who are bedridden are at great risk of severe edema because there's no skeletal muscle, especially if you're in a coma, there's no skeletal muscle movement to squeeze the lymph back up into circulation. And the way that a doctor defines whether or not you are dehydrated is not whether your body contains fluid, it's whether your blood contains enough plasma. So if your plasma has leaked out into your extremities and hasn't been forced back into circulation, you could end up gaining a lot of water weight in your extremities. There have been people who've gained like 30 pounds of water weight and were still dehydrated. And so they would give them IV fluids constantly, trying to keep them hydrated. So hydration is not the same as the water content of your body. Hydration is about how much of that lymph and how much water you drink, but how much of that lymph gets pushed back into circulation.